With the season wrapping to the close, I want to give the Boston Bruins players their report cards. As I record this, the season isn't officially over, but I will be traveling when it is, so I thought I would do it now. I know it wasn't the best season, but there are some players that did play well and others that, they just didn't. I'm going to put a qualifier on it though, and for the player to get a letter grade, they will need to play a minimum of 20 games for the Bruins this season. I welcome, after you watch the video, to drop the letter grades down below of what you think the players should have got. So buckle up, Bruins fans. I'm here to give you the latest info on your beloved Boston Bruins. If you've been liking my Bruins content, please leave me a like and subscribe. If you've already done so, thank you, and let's get into it. Players that didn't play 20 games for the Boston Bruins this year include Fabian Lysell, Hampus Lindholm, Michael Callahan, Patrick Brown, Ian Mitchell, Riley Tufte, Georgi Merkulov, Jeffrey Vial, and Riley Duran. I would say for these players, we just didn't get to see them enough to say whether they're good or bad or a bust this year. Lindholm's injury is unfortunate, and I didn't realize how much he missed this year until I looked at the games played and was honestly shocked. As for Fabian Lysell and Georgi Merkulov, I will be giving their own prospect profile videos, so you will hear more about them in the future. As for Fraser Minten, Jyrki Hairo, Casey Middlestat, Mara Hustadinov, and Jacob Lauko, we've seen a handful of games from them, and I will speak to what they have seen in a later video about how they've looked since we've acquired them in the trade. I will do the list in alphabetical order, and hope you enjoy, so here we go. Starting off with John Beecher. Beecher started the season out great and found instant chemistry with new line mates Cole Koepke and Mark Kastelic. For reasons I don't know why, Montgomery split the lineup and they lost all momentum by the time they got put back together again. Beecher is a fourth-line player who plays Peeke and is not expected to put up big offensive numbers, even though the Bruins drafted him in the first round, 30th overall in 2019. Even at the time, Sweeney was like, we want him to be a fourth-line player, and I thought to myself, then why draft him in the first round? This season, at the time of the video, he has 3 goals, 8 assists for 11 points. It says he's minus 11 and only minus 10 when you only count 5-on-5. Beecher is great at faceoffs, and he's sitting around 52%, but he's lacking in so many other areas this season, and he's struggled at times. His pace of play hasn't been up to what I think it should be this season, and he has 49 giveaways to only 15 takeaways. He does have 71 block shots, but if you're going to be a fourth-line center and PK guy, you need to have a better defensive stick on the ice. He can't drive really any offense, and I'm left wanting more. For all those reasons, he gets a C. Let's move on to Morgan Geekie, who started at the season slowly, only registering 2 goals and 3 assists in the first 2 months of the season. In fact, at one point, people were calling for the team to stop playing him, and people couldn't understand why he was getting so much ice time. Oh, how the turntables have turned. In fact, in December, Geekie responded to a fan's post on Twitter who was criticizing his play. And let's just say, he took that personal. In the month of December, he scored 6 goals and tallied 5 assists and just kept going from there, getting 7 goals in January and just scored his 31st goal of the year. I realize, yes, he is playing on a line now with David Pastrnak, but he's doing so many things right when he's on the ice. He has 31 goals and 24 assists for 55 points. 27 of those goals come 5-on-5, and he's a plus 15 5-on-5. He's strong on the forecheck, and he's strong on the back check, playing an average of 16 minutes a night and giving his team a chance to win when he's on the ice. For that reason, I'm giving him an A-. You may think I'm being hard on him, but for those first 2 months were so brutal, I just can't not count them. Next on the list is Mark Kastelic, who, unfortunately, was plagued by injuries throughout the season. Kastelic was acquired in the Ullmark trade during the playoffs last season and has instantly become a fan favorite for his style of hockey. He's tough to play against, and he's not afraid to muck it up in the corner, and he's going to drop the mitts. Kastelic wasn't brought in for his offense, but he sure had a hot start from his career in Boston. In the first month on the team, he got 3 goals and 4 assists and 7 points in the month of October. In the month of November, Montgomery split the line up, and the rest was history for that line. They were never able to find the chemistry once they got back together after the start of the season. Kastelic, game in and game out, played hard and was hard to play against. Never did I see him not give a full effort on every shift. He ended the year with 61 games, played with 5 goals, 9 assists for 14 points. His season was cut short due to injury, which was a bit of an issue throughout the season for him, but when he was in the lineup, he played well. He averaged around 10 minutes a game, and his faceoff percentage was 55% by season's end. For what Mark Kastelic is, which is a bottom 6 player, I feel he was a bright spot in the year that was full of downs. I'm going to give Mark Kastelic a B. Next on the list is Cole Koepke, who signed with the Bruins this season and is an unrestricted free agent at season's end. Another player that was part of the only line at the start of the season that did anything right and got split up. Koepke seemed to fall out of favor with Joe Sacco this season, and Sweeney already mentioned that if he hadn't re-signed their unrestricted free agents before the deadline, they most likely won't be returning next year. I found this odd because I didn't mind what Koepke brought, especially in the bottom six. He played with pace and rarely hurt you out there, but seemed to be more of a Montgomery player than a Sacco player. Koepke currently has 10 goals and 7 assists in 71 games this season for the Bruins. He wasn't brought in to be an offensive dynamo, and I feel he's doing the job what they brought him in to do. I'm hoping he will be back next season, but I have my doubts, and I'm giving him a C+. Next up is Vinny Letteri, who I didn't expect at the start of the season to see much of. I still don't understand the Lauco trade at the start of the season at all, but both are here now, so I'm just going to move on. Letteri only played in 24 games at the time of this recording for the Bruins, and while he is speed and a good hockey IQ, I don't feel he hurts you or his game is a game breaker of any kind. In 24 games, he has 3 goals, 2 assists for 5 points. It feels to me he's only up with the Bruins because they don't got anybody else to play and he knows the system. He doesn't hurt you when he's on the ice. Nothing about his game screams give him a bigger role with the club. I feel if they had anyone else to fill his role this season, they would have, and he would not be back next season, as he's an unrestricted free agent, unless they bring him back to play in Providence. I'm giving him a C. Where do I start with E.Lindholm? The expectations from the fan base were high when the Bruins signed him July 1. You had players on the team excited they got him, and Pastrnak even compared him to Bergeron. Man, I bet you he wants to take that one back. It wasn't a great start when he gets hurt early in training camp and gets little to no time to try and gel with Pastrnak. It was evident from the first couple of games that Lindholm missing training camp was slowing him down. He didn't do too bad, but he only got 2 goals and 4 assists, but it wasn't what fans or what the team felt he should be doing. He was bumped down to the second line early to play with Marchand because he just wasn't gelling with Pastrnak. He is great on the draws and he's good defensively all year, but his offensive production took far too long to happen this year. Let's be honest, he was brought in to be the number 1 center, and he sure didn't look like one until the last month of the season. In 80 games, he scored 16 goals and got 28 assists for 44 points, and he was given a very big contract to do a lot more. In the month of April, he found his chemistry with Geekie and Pastrnak, but it took all season to get there, and he's had 3 goals and 3 assists since being on that line. Hopefully it's a sign of things to come, but it's a little too late for him this season, and for that reason, I'm only giving him a C+. After last year's playoffs, I think all Bruins fans were excited to see what Mason Lohrei would bring this year. Well, I truly don't think we got what we all expected after such a great playoff. Mason Lohrei struggled this year, but learned a lot along the way about the position. I doubt the amount of ice time he got this season was the original plan, but once Hampus Lindholm went down and then Charlie McAvoy, it meant that Mason Lohrei was going to play a heck of a lot more minutes. I was surprised that the Bruins left him in there to make those mistakes and was happy about that. I know a lot of fans blame him for the giveaways, which he had many. But he's a first-year pro, and my hope is he bounces back next year. He's not going to learn unless he makes the mistakes. He has a great first pass, his high hockey IQ, and he can skate like the wind. The Bruins have something with him, but he needs to bulk up and come back stronger next season. Lohrei got 5 goals and 28 assists this season, which is great numbers for a young offensive D-man, which he is. But this season, he was asked to do a lot more, and he was the worst plus-minus on the team with -43. My guess is when he's not the go-to guy every night, he will get to learn from McAvoy and Lindholm next year and become a better defenseman. My grade for him this year is just a C. McAvoy, like all the leadership core on the Bruins, had to deal with a lot of adversity and be the center of questions to the Bruins' struggles this season. I thought McAvoy handled it very well this year and came across like a true leader on and off the ice. Defensively, he was strong this season, laying out huge hits, not afraid to sacrifice the body, and he's punishing forwards in front of the net and in the corners. McAvoy is an elite defender in the league, but for some reason in the fan base, they think he's this offensive dynamo, which he truly has never been. He's a strong skater with a little bit of an offensive upside, but he's just a minute-munching defensive defenseman, which that's what got him named to one of the first starters for Team USA at the Four Nations. In 50 games this season, he got 7 goals and 16 assists for 23 points. This season, he was plagued by injuries and didn't return after the Four Nations. I personally really like McAvoy's game, and in the year of watching terrible Bruins games, he was at least a bright spot out there when he was playing. So I'm giving McAvoy a B. Well, I don't think I can find a bad thing to say about David Pastrnak this season. I'm sure some fans will. In a year when the Bruins were truly one of the worst offensive and defensive teams in the league, he was by far the best player on the ice almost every night. Recording his 3rd consecutive 100-point season, racking up 42 goals and 60 assists for 102 points. Most months, he carried the Bruins on his back after losing a lot of his friends. At the trade deadline, he emerged as one of the biggest leaders in the locker room on and off the ice. He makes players around him better, and I'm sure Morgan Geekie thanks him for his career year. By far the easiest player to grade on this team with an A+. Andrew Peeke isn't the guy that is going to win you the game with a big shot from the point. He isn't the guy that's going to put out on the ice to make you have the huge comeback. He is, however, this season, the guy you put on the ice to protect the lead, which unfortunately there wasn't many of this year. He is the guy that will sacrifice the body at all costs, blocking shots, clearing out the crease, and punishing players in the corner. He is better suited for a bottom six role, but this year, because of injuries, had to play a bigger role, and I thought he did well. He isn't out there to be flashy, but he does the job he's asked of. In 74 games, he got 1 goal and 16 assists for 17 points, and he was averaging about 18 minutes a night. And let's face it, he was doing that on a very bad Bruins team. For a guy that had to play above his role this year, I thought he did okay, and for that reason, I'm giving him a B-. Going into this season, I had high hopes for Matthew Poitras. He spent the offseason bulking up, came into camp bigger and stronger. He looked better, but he couldn't stop admiring his passes and got hurt once again. Poitras had a lot of tools that would make him a good player, and I truly think he still has a bright future in Boston, but I'm glad he spent the majority of the year in Providence for a couple reasons. One, he gets to learn the system and play important minutes down in Providence to become a better player. Another, he didn't have to spend a year up in Boston learning how to lose and playing on the bottom six role. For his development, he needs the minutes to get better on the power play, which will help him become a better player. He needs the better minutes in harder situations, and he wasn't going to get that playing in Boston. He isn't the future number one center the Bruins are looking for, but he was never supposed to be. He's either the 3C or at best a 2C if he can elevate his game. In 33 games this season, he got 1 goal and 10 assists, but in his stints, he was strong on the puck and he was making smart decisions. It wasn't his year this year, but I have no doubt he'll be back up next season with the Bruins. I'm giving him a C+. Parker Wotherspoon is a 7th defenseman at best, but he was asked to play a lot bigger role this season due to injuries. He did an admirable job, but he has many holes to his game. He's an unrestricted free agent at the end of the year, and I'm not sure he'll be back next year. In 53 games, he got 1 goal and notched 3 assists playing on a bottom pair of arguably one of the worst defense in the NHL this season. I can't say much about him truly. He's just okay, and for that reason, I just gave him a C. Pavel Zacha is a guy that does everything that you ask of him. He played every position besides defense and was up and down the lineup, and you didn't hear a peep from him. Yes, it was a down year for him, but for the majority of the Boston Bruins, besides Mark and Geekie, it was a down year for them too. Zacha is very dependable forward who you can count on to win the draw, be responsible in his own end, and help you generate offense. He's very consistent and never flashy, and I still feel the Bruins stole him from New Jersey. In 80 games, he got 14 goals and 31 assists for 15 points. Nothing special, but still third on the Bruins in scoring, and my letter grade for him is a B. To say Nikita Zadorov's career had a bumpy start is an understatement. The expectations from the fan base were huge for some reason on him. He was a bottom 6 or middle 6 defender on almost every team he played on. Maybe it was his old nickname of Big Z that attracted people, or maybe it was the promise from management that he was singled the return of the big bad Bruins. Well, the only thing he singled for the first couple of months was the referee's arm up in the air, because he got penalty after penalty after penalty. Zadorov got a penalty in every one of his first 7 games, totaling 21 minutes. The season isn't over yet, but he also has 139 minutes in penalties this season. At the time of the recording, he leads the league in penalties. But the crazy thing is, he's only been in 4 fights, meaning he's taking a lot of 2-minute minors this year, putting his team down and could be costing them the game. He looked slow to start the year, and at times he looked lost, but something happened after the 4 Nations break because he started to play better. And I mean, a lot better. He spent less time chasing and more times defending, clogging up lanes and using his size to separate players from the puck. In 79 games, he got 4 goals and 15 assists, did lead one of the worst defensive teams in the league with a plus 21. When you factor in only 5-on-5 minutes though, he's only a plus 5. I understand he played good at the end of the year, but I can't ignore the first half of the year. So, he gets a B-. I haven't seen a goalie in Boston since Anton Khudobin where the fan base will say every game he played great regardless of the outcome. I truly believe because so many are disappointed in Jeremy Swayman this year, including myself, they treat Joonas Korpisalo like their favorite child, and he can do no wrong. Coming into the season, I saw so many posts telling me Goalie Bob knows what he's doing because it was his recommendation that made Sweeney trade for him. Goalie Bob is going to make him good, just you see, what I was told, and frankly, I'm still waiting. Some say Korpisalo was better than Swayman this season, and they're probably right. And I have to say, if he played the same number of games, he probably would have sucked too. And I don't know. Both goalies weren't good. Korpisalo had a handful of good games, but in fairness of him, he had one of the league's worst defense in front of him all season. I can't blame everything on the goalie because the Bruins defense was just that bad, and the forward group wasn't all that good defensively either. Korpisalo also didn't play that many games, and at times, I thought he deserved back-to-back starts because he played so well in the game before. Again, That's on Goalie Ball, people, who makes the recommendation on who should start and who doesn't. In 26 games this season, Korpisalo had 10 wins, 3 shutouts, a goals against average of .298, and an .891 save percentage. He only had 1 win in the last 3 months. He did have a great November where he won all 4 games that he started. Korpisalo, though, got sheltered starts, I felt, and almost always got to start against a non-playoff team. In 23 starts, he faced only 8 playoff teams. And I'm counting Ottawa, who just made the playoffs. Mind you, he was getting the start against his former teams, which was Ottawa and Columbus. Out of those 8 starts, he won 1 of them. I don't think he was bad, but I don't think he was good either this year. And again, the team in front of him was terrible, so my grade for him is a C. Well, this one could be a long one, but I've done so many videos about Jeremy Swayman this season, I might have to keep it short. We'll see. Swayman and Neely had a much publicized contract dispute before the season started. Let's not kid ourselves that both parties look foolish on that one. He missed camp, he looked terrible out there at the gate, and fans let him have it. I haven't seen this much hatred towards a goalie in Boston since Tuukka Rask, and I still will never understand what that was all about with Rask. I understand being frustrated with Swayman, but the hatred was a bridge too far for me sometimes. I criticize players and I comment when they play bad, but I always comment when they play well. And game after game, regardless of the outcome, daggers towards him all season from much of the fan base. You can fan any way you want, but it got a bit weird after a while because no matter how the goals go in, first thing people would say is he should have had that one or he's overpaid. It honestly got boring after a while. Like, get something new. The majority of the time, he probably should have had it, but a lot of the times I would say he can't stop them all. Again, Swayman had the same terrible defense in front of him as Korpisalo, but because of his contract, he was enemy number 1. Swayman brought it on himself, but after a while, it just got old. No fan base blames their goalie for every loss more than the Boston Bruins. Whether it's right or wrong, it is what it is. Swayman did not play good this year at all. But I also think the Bruins management rode him into the ground, and I will never be able to prove it, but man, they left him in there a lot when he obviously didn't have it and he should have been pulled, and then they start him again the next game. It honestly made no sense. We all thought for sure, oh, Korpisalo's going to get a next start, but nope. They went with the guy that just got let in 7 goals the game before and got shelled. Like, maybe management wanted to lose this year. I don't know. In 57 games, Swayman got 22 wins, 4 shutouts, a goals against average of 3.08, and an .894 save percentage. He's played a little bit better at the end of this year, but he still stinks this year. Those numbers I said, they're not good. And for that reason, he gets the lowest letter grade on the team with a D. That is my report card for the players, and I will be doing one on the coaching and management in the future. And it won't be pretty, let me tell you. The team overall got an F this year because they didn't just not make the playoffs. They're looking like they will have a top 5 pick in the draft. They were that bad. That's a wrap on today's video. To stay up to date on all the news surrounding the Boston Bruins, please subscribe and drop me a like. If news breaks surrounding the Boston Bruins, be sure to check out the channel. If you've already subscribed to the channel, thank you, and I'll see you next time.